Why to do with a mean husband who is consistently mean and dominates me but also shows love and care every now and then? My husband is extremely bipolar and mean to me every single day. I do love him, but his meanness is killing me. Bipolar behavior of husband is causing me to break down. We have been together for 10 years. Had numerous fights where I tried to leave but ended up staying because he begged and cried. On paper it looks like he is highly accomplished and has everything going for him. At home he is a wreck. On free days he just chooses to watch sports for hours and does no self-care. Minute he has a work gig, he shaves, gets a haircut and looks all done. I get scraps and everyone gets the nice guy version of him. He says he wants to start a family, but how will that work out to when all day he is acting mean and I take care of the entire home? A to Z. He is a business owner and does not like me to do 9 to 5. He has initiated projects with me which are all left on my shoulders, and with my limited experience I hit a roadblock and things didn't take off. On the other hand, he is thriving in his career, making money, and often and on tells me that I have a free ride in life because of him. When I moved to the States I insisted on living separately as we were only dating. He begged for a live-in. Then as I pursued my life here with him, he insisted, oh, don't do small gigs. Don't do 9 to 5. Only freelance projects. 9 years just flew by. I am educated and was traveling the world for my job, and he makes it sound like he made my life better and that he found me under a rock. I won't lie, he has love bombed me and for long put me to believe he is there for me financially. Then when I ask him not to be mean to me every now and then, he snidely remarks, oh, I have it so easy. I have only $30,000 in savings that I saved over the years with all my freelance gigs. I recently started microgreens business all by myself because it helps my mental health to not overthink things. I have multiple projects in the making waiting to be greenlit by investors, and on the side this new business. My first week at farmer's market made $200 and he ridiculed it. Sad face, I feel so sad and broken. FYI, I am an immigrant, 34F, and he is Caucasian American, 41M. Last night after he came home from a week-long project, he was under the weather and was planning to not put up the tree. So I made all the effort that he does. I surprised him with Christmas tree and decorations. He got mad at me that I did it myself without involving him. I am mean. Said names. Completely berating me for no reason. Irrationally misbehaving with me has made my love for him turn into resentment, misery, loneliness. I have never felt stability with him. He professes so much love when I ask him to break up before and divorce now. He love bombs. Begs me not to leave. Sorry for all this info dump. I can't afford therapy. I just need people their take from outside perspective. Where do I stand? Not that I am seeing anyone outside, and I don't think he is cheating. He may be acting all charming at work, but his home is where he would rather be. I know this is so ironic because he can't have a peaceful conversation without overtaking or dominating the narrative of the discussion. It's not all black or white. It's gray. Confusing, hurtful mess. Comment. You leave the abuser and don't fall for the love bombing that happens in between the abuse. Is he actually diagnosed bipolar, or are you just using that as shorthand to explain that he is nice sometimes and mean other times? Is he nice and mean to other people in his life, or just you? If he is diagnosed, is he medicated? Where is his medical support team in all of this? If he isn't diagnosed, it could be closer to possible narcissistic abuse than bipolar. He would need a doctor to diagnose him. But he sounds abusive, and he's using his power of being from here because he probably thinks you won't truly leave him. He can just rope you back in time and time again, hence research trauma bond. People leave their spouses/abusers every day with literally nothing. You have $30,000. That's more than most people have, period. All you need to do is hire a lawyer, pack your shit when he is gone, get a hotel or apartment, and don't tell him where. Let the lawyer deal with him any other way, and he will manipulate you to come back. What do you mean you don't know any better? When he's at work, look online for a one-bedroom apartment somewhere. Call and say you can pay a full lease's worth of rent since you can't prove you're regularly employed. Make all the arrangements while he's at work, and when they give you the keys, go home. Crams as much shit you can in your car, and if you don't have one, Uber to U-Haul, get a van, and go. Leave a note on the fridge, say done with you treating me like I'm your own personal punching bag. You will hear from my lawyer once I'm able to retain one. I mean, with 30K you could super easily afford a full year's rent like it's nothing if you find a nice little 900-1000 place. And you freelance, so some money is coming in. I'm so confused by this. I get you aren't from here, but 30K is a shit ton of money. I've never been able to pass 10K in savings. Unless your husband was diagnosed by a licensed therapist/psychologist as having bipolar disorder, then he is not bipolar. He is simply abusive, and his hot and cold behavior is completely intentional. How do I know it's intentional? He proves it every time he acts normally around his friends and co-workers. If he were truly out of control, he would not be able to maintain a good image around them. But his abusive behavior is directed towards you and you alone. My father is the exact same way. He would do absolutely anything for a stranger, but he treats his wife and children like dirt on his heel. He cares about his public image above all else. Please, leave this man. He is never going to change. He ridiculed you for making money at farmer's market. Your partner should be your biggest cheerleader and should be happy for you. His comments were disrespectful and nasty. You deserve better. Staying with him will continue to negatively impact your mental health. Story 2. My partner doesn't apologize and just acts like nothing happened. My partner and I have been together for about 3 years now. Over the past 5 months or so, LVE noticed that she has been getting more abrasive and persecutory during our disagreements. I feel as if she has been taking personal shots at me instead of addressing the situation at hand, not to say that I'm not guilty of reciprocating the same behavior at times. We talked about this in the past, and I vocalized that I feel like my actions are a reaction to how she speaks to me. I was making a conscious effort to be more patient during any disagreement and fully listening to her needs. However, she won't drop things easily, and will continue to force the conversation until both of us get upset and things escalate. For example, she recently had a hard day at work and called me to talk about the situation and seek comfort. We are only able to stop on the phone for a few minutes because she was still at work. However, I texted her right after saying I love you with no reply. I texted her again 2 hours later, checking in to see how she was doing and letting her know to call me if she needs to talk at all, even though I would be going to bed. We later had a long discussion about her day at work, and I feel like I was quite receptive to everything she was saying. She followed up at the end the conversation by saying that she feels like I didn't meet her needs because I only texted I love you and nothing more right after we hung up the previous night. I profusely apologized and said that I recognize why she is upset, and told her that should there ever be a situation where she feels that way again, I too make sure that I check in more often and do everything I can to make sure she feels more supported in her time of need. I thought my apology was sincere. However, she continued to press into the subject and made several condescending remarks towards me. I tried to redirect the conversation to be more productive, but she continued making personal comments about me even after vocalizing that I thought the way she was talking to me was hurtful. She went on to say that I was a shitty boyfriend. While I was responding to her telling her that her words are hurtful, she abruptly hung up, ending the call. We've had similar interactions like this a few times over the past few weeks, and it is becoming increasingly frustrating, and I'm having a harder time being patient with her and her behavior. I have vocalized my concerns to her, and while she is always regretful of how she acts later, she has never actually sincerely apologized. She will always just act like things are normal and be super lovey and playful, likely expecting me to just get over things because she is now behaving normally. Our relationship is otherwise fantastic, and it is so easy to forget about times like this when things are good. However, I feel like the way she's been talking to and treating me is building up, and I'm worried that this will cause more problems in our relationship. I just know that if she would sincerely apologize and we could have a productive conversation, I would feel much better about this, but for some reason she won't. I understand that I'm not perfect and I bring my own faults to the relationship, but this is the first time that I've been trying to vocalize how her actions make me feel, and it has been increasingly discouraging that I feel like my feelings are being blown off. What can I do to better communicate that the way she's been talking to me is hurting my feelings and affecting our relationship? How can I get her to understand how important a simple apology is to me? Happy to provide more context if needed. Comment: I so badly regret not breaking things off early when I realized my ex-fiancé was incapable of apologizing. It demonstrates they are broken. You can never trust someone that truly never believes they did anything wrong, and that's where this refusal to apologize comes from. You can't have a good relationship with such a person. First, I'm not going to give the typical dump her advice here. My advice comes at the end. There is a gap in your and her maturity levels. Communication and compromise are key in a relationship. Being able to take ownership of a problem, apologize for it, and work to not repeat it is what builds the bond between people. She's communicated her needs and expectations in a partner. It's time for you to communicate yours. Grab a sheet of paper, jot down some bullet points. If you rely on memory, you'll forget stuff once you get started. Sit down and talk. Until you see meaningful improvement, you need to keep the relationship at its current level. The deeper you get involved with someone, A, the more endorsement they feel in their behavior, and B, the harder it is to end it if things get bad. You need to have a conversation with her about this and not about you being hurt by whatever individual thing happened previously. Let her know this is a recurring issue and that you don't feel as if she has taken ownership of her actions, and sincerely apologize. What you describe at the end is one of the phases of love bombing. She gets called out on bad behavior, and instead of actually addressing and dealing with it, she immediately tries to shift things back to normal and acts super lovey and playful. It's a form of emotional manipulation and control, the same way that when she berates you for not listening and texting properly, she's trying to control you too. Don't tolerate it when she tries to shift things back to normal and be playful and all that. Make sure she knows this is something that must be addressed now with actual accountability and change. This is more on her than on you, but unfortunately you are really the only one who can fix it. You can try doing by stating what your boundaries are and how you will be enforcing them. At a time when you aren't having an argument and are getting on well, you can propose some rules of communication in an argument or disagreement. The biggest issue is that she's refusing to take any accountability for her actions. This will lead to very serious consequences in the future if it isn't addressed now. Seems pretty clear that she will continue to behave like this whenever she feels like you are not meeting her expectations. She would apologize if she feels like she's done something wrong. If she doesn't feel she's done anything wrong, she won't feel the need to apologize. So think about whether she even thinks she's ever been in the wrong in such situations. If there is no regret about the way she's treated you whenever you don't meet her standards for non-shitty boyfriend, she'll just keep doing this and you will keep breeding resentment. Please have an honest conversation about non-negotiables and boundaries. Make it clear what words or phrases are simply not acceptable to you. And then stick to your boundaries. You could guide her about what she could say instead, to express herself without hurting your feelings.